What's going on YouTube? My name's Jason Evans. The channel is Working Class Knowledge. This channel is just to, share different skills, knowledge, anything. And today, we're going to start with drilling this bowling ball for a two-handed bowler from start to finish. So, first off, I do have the old Venom. This is the new Venom, Fatal Venom. And here is the older Venom Shock Pearl. This is a great ball. This is my first ball. I love this ball. The problem is where I bowl, the lanes they're dry, especially now with COVID. Like, they must be trying to save money. I'm not sure, but they're not putting any oil on the lane, so this baby's overhooking a lot, and I just wanted something a little more controllable. So I moved on to the Supra, which is a higher RG ball. I put a weaker layout on this, and the mistake I made was I should have looked at the numbers. This is like part of the learning process. I know there's a million other videos out there, but a lot of it doesn't make sense. I don't learn that way. I learn by putting a hole in the ball and rolling it and see what happens. So this has a 6-inch pin to positive access point, and this ball doesn't hook at all. Like, I should have looked at the numbers. So what my goal is I already know the Venom shock line. I kind of know what they're gonna do. I want something a little stronger than this Supra, but weaker than my old Venom Shock. And I believe the Venom Shock has a 4-inch pin to pap. Yeah, so it just a little bit goes a long way. So, alright, I'm going to adjust the camera, and then we'll start laying this out. Alright, first off, for laying bowling balls out, you're going to need to buy a grease pencil. You can get them at Buddy's Pro Shop, get them at Amazon. But I find with buying bowling stuff from Amazon, especially odd items like grease pencils, they usually take longer. So Buddy's Pro Shop is pretty quick if you live in Boston area. And secondly, you're going to need a Pro Sect. It's just a marking tool to mark bowling balls. So first up, this is a symmetric ball. It's got a pin, and it's got a CG, center of gravity. Now an asymmetric bowling ball, which I don't recommend for two-handed bowlers. I have one, but yeah, I wouldn't start there. So this is asymmetric. With an asymmetric, you'll have a third marking on the ball. So on an asymmetric, you would go from the pin to the PSA. But on a symmetric ball, what you're going to do is you're going to line the Pro Sect up on the pin and go through the CG. And you want to make a line. Now you turn the Pro Sect around, you put it right back on the pin, line the line up with the spline here, and then I'm gonna do a so you're gonna have to look into the dual angle layout method. It's a way that you can watch somebody bowl online. They say, I drilled this ball 45 by 5 by 35. you'd be able to put that layout on the ball, which may not look the same as theirs, but you should get similar results. So with this one, I am going to go, let's go with a 65. And after a while, you'll start to figure out what you like. You know, I've tried short pin layouts, putting the pin, you know, on the side like an inch from your axis, and I don't know, I didn't like that look. I've tried pin downs. I don't really like those. I'm a pin up kind of guy for now. So after you made that first mark, you reline up the prosect. So I think I just skipped ahead here, but after you mark your 65, then you line that line up back with the pin. Mark that. Put the 0 right on that intersecting point. Now this is where your positive axis point is going to be. So I'm going to go with a 5-inch, no. You know what? I'm going to go with a 5.5 inch. Yeah. So this is a lower RG ball, which means it's going to want to get into a roll sooner. This is the Supra was a high RG ball, which means it wants to get into a roll later. So with that 6-inch pin, I kind of made a mistake there. I probably should have went, you know, a little closer, but this is a lower RG ball, so I think I'm comfortable with a 5.5. I think that's going to work out perfect. So once you mark from, you know, whatever you want, 5, 4, 3, then you turn the ball and you want to line the prosect back up on that little line that you just made. Line up the spline again. And now we're going to mark the second angle, which I'm going to go with 65 again. Now go from your positive axis point line, and this is called the VAL, or the vertical axis line. So before you do any of this, which maybe I'll do another video on later, you have to know, you need to know what your positive axis point is. Everybody's different, and basically the second the ball comes out of your hands, the very second it comes out of your hands when you're bowling, if you were to jam a rod through it right at that point, that would be your positive axis point. And there's ways to check it by putting a piece of tape on the side of the ball, rolling it, and see, you know, if it stays in that same spot. So I already know mine. Mine is 5 3/8 over by 1.5 inches down. So this is where we said the positive axis point was. What we want to do, so my positive axis point is 1.5 inches down. So in order to do that, I have to go 1.5 inches up. Can you see that? So I went 1.5 inches up. Put the prosect try to get a good shot here. Put the prosect back on that line. And now I want to go 5 3/8 over. 5 3/8. Let me just move this line over a little more. Bring that across. So this 5 3/8 over. So this would be the center of my grip. So if you're a one-handed bowler, this would be the center of your grip. So that's like the center of your hand. So you have to know your spans and everything, but basically, so for like a one-handed bowler, you know, your fingers would be up here somewhere, and your thumb would be down here. And this would be a pin down layout for a one-handed bowler. But for a two-handed bowler, the center of the grip is in between the two finger holes. I don't know why they do that, but it doesn't really matter anyways. This is just so, what I do is I lay out a ball, I write down in a paper what I did, and I keep a log of all my balls so I know, you know, what layout I did on each one, so that I can go back later and know what I did so I could change it, you know, on my next ball. Alright, so my fingers should be somewhere like that. So what you want is, now you have to make a bridge. You can't drill the holes too close together. If you drill the holes too close together, it will crack. So you need, I mean, you really want a 1/4 inch at minimum. Alright, so for the bridge, we're going to mark 1/8. 1/8 this way, 1/8 that way. Make a little line. Make a little line, okay. So now my fingers will be right there. So that's the layout. So now I'm going to write that down in my little paper that I keep. And that's a 65 by 5.5 by 65. Alright, so this is the KMT personal ball jig. You can buy this online. I think it's about $300. It comes with everything you need. So there's options when you buy it. There's different. These plates on the top basically hold the bit at a predetermined angle or pitch. So I got the number 7, which I believe is 1/2 inch. But anyway, on the website, for every plate, you can download or print out the paperwork that goes with it. Yeah, it's a 1/2 inch pitch. Number 7 plate. And it will show you, you know, basically, shows you, I wouldn't even worry about all these other ones. I would start with, you know, I would start with just the 1/2 inch pitch outward in both directions. And that's usually what I do. But sometimes when I roll the ball, the track comes over the finger hole, so I had to make an adjustment and twist the ball. So I get 7/16 left and 3/16 forward. And that fixed the problem for me. So how you use this jig, so we're drilling the left finger. The left finger needs to be in the back. So we want to turn the ball. So the left finger is in the back and the right finger's in the front. What you want to do is you want to line this bit up. You kind of have to, this is be really hard to do on camera, but you have to kind of sight down the bit and make sure that the edge of the bit is just touching that bridge line that you made. So you see, if you sight down the bit, you want this edge to be just barely touching that bridge line that you made. Once you have it right where you want it, you're going to take the bit and push it and twist it into the ball to get this little tip started, so that you're not, when you're down in the basement drilling in the dark, the bit will kind of just find that little pit or a little hole that you made, and you can start drilling. So let me get those pits started. Alright, so now I have it lined up. I'm going to push it. And twist that in there a little bit. Now I'm going to do the right finger. Right about there. And you're not like stuck to these. You will be able to micro adjust in the basement or wherever you're drilling. I'll be able to micro adjust when I'm down there. If I find that one's off a little, or I want to just slide one over a little bit, you can. I'll show you why these little holes are useful. And if you're a two-handed bowler, the best part about this system, if you use rubber inserts, all you need is the number 7 plate and the 30 seconds drill bit. Yeah, for $300, I mean, every time you go to the pro shop, you get a new ball. It's $60 every single time. Some places are more. So you drill like 3 or 4 bowling balls for yourself. The jig just paid for itself, and you can help other people, or you could charge them, to, once you figure out what you're doing, you could charge them and make a few bucks with it. So now the important part here, when you drill these, so if you're a one-handed bowler, these 2 finger holes will be about 2 inches deep. And then the thumb hole will be probably 3 inches deep. So you're removing a certain amount of mass from the side of the ball by doing that. And the manufacturers are depending on you doing that, So for two-handed bowlers, the way to get around that is, instead of, because we're not drilling a thumb hole, just drill the finger holes, both of them. Drill them 3 inches deep. I mean, I just send this bit all the way down so that I know that I removed enough enough mass out of the ball to get it to do what it needs to do. They can't. I mean, they say it's a symmetric ball. It's a symmetric ball until you drill it. The second you drill it, it's not symmetric anymore. It's asymmetric, kind of. All right, now the only other thing you're going to need to use this is a standard household drill. How you set this up? You insert the bit into this pitched plate. Now you'll notice, you see that arrow that's etched in? If you look at your paperwork here, for the number 7 bridge plate, and this is the left finger, so the left finger needs to be in the back. So I'm in the front, we're going to turn this, left finger's in the back, kind of roughly put it towards the top of the ball. The arrow needs to be pointing up. See? Arrow up. Left finger back. Slide it in. Now look at that. Your drill bit. Your drill bit drops right down into that little hole that we made. You get the other nut on. Now this part, you just have to keep messing with it. You want to tighten it down evenly. So you'll see the line that goes through. It goes all the way through your fingers. It's the line that goes through both fingers. That line will line up with these etched markings. So if you just go straight on like this, this bit will pitch a 1/2 inch towards the back on its way down. And the reason for that is because if you drilled straight down, because the ball is round, the holes would come down and they would meet in the middle, and you do not want that. That's when your ball starts falling apart. So by pitching this one this way 1/2 inch and then the other one the other way 1/2 inch, by the time you account for that circle, it almost looks like they go straight down. Well, they do go straight down. So once you have it all lined up, I mean, this is what I would start with. I would start with just going straight through. That's just a 1/2 inch one direction, 1/2 inch the other direction. I wouldn't do anything else until, that's the kind of the crappy part about bowling, is you have to have a ball, you have to drill it, and you have to roll it to be able to figure out what to change in the future. I mean, bowling's kind of an expensive sport, so if you're serious about bowling and you'd like to do it, this thing pays for itself quickly. Alright, so once you have everything lined up, you're going to just crank down these handles until everything is nice and snug, not moving anywhere. Attach your drill and just go for it. Try to hold it steady, just go all the way down. You want to go down a little, come back up, go down a little, come back up, go down a little, come back up. You want to be clearing out the waste as you go down. You don't want to just go straight to the bottom and then try to pull the bit out because it might get stuck. So We're going to go do that now. We're going to go drill this thing up and then come back up and put grips on it. We will see you then. All right. And contact. Little tool you can buy. It's got some sandpaper wrapped around a screwdriver. Basically, you want to round these edges. You want to smooth them over. If you don't have one of these, you can just use any old piece of sandpaper. Doesn't matter. Alright. We're back upstairs now. So, as you can see, we've got two nice holes in this ball. Alright, first up, we gotta clean all these lines off. This stuff is the best, in my opinion. Tack up. Some people, say it is expensive if you don't buy it in larger amounts. Some people try to mix up their own cocktail of cleaners. I've tried Windex, and Windex does not get, you'd be scrubbing for an hour. But this, it's a ball cleaner and tackifier, so you want to spray it down. Get all these lines off. So what you want to do is line these up. Figure out what sizes you are. And these also have two ends. They have a power lift. It's called a power lift. It has a little wedge at the bottom. And this is a semi-circle. So there's a million different kinds. You can mess around with them and figure out what you like. But I go with the semis. So you want to push these in. So you're going to do 4, and you're going to have to get, it's basically just super glue, but you could probably just use super glue, but they sell this for bowling finger grips. So there's going to be 4 dabs. You do a dab here on this side, you do a dab on this side, then on the bottom, then on the top. I always start on these 2, because if you notice, those are the only ones that are flush. And if you keep pushing them down, then those will be below. So start with those ones that are flush and then force the rest of it down. I always try to check with my fingers, make sure everything feels comfortable. Twist them around if you have to. Yeah, almost there. Yeah. Okay, and I always try to go just just below the surface of the ball. When I rounded that corner, I don't know if you can see it on this one, but I bring the grip, like this is a little soft edge. Right at the bottom of that little soft edge is where I stop the grip. I don't want the grip above the ball in case it was to roll over the grips. You know, the rubber would grab the wooden lane and throw off your ball motion probably. I've never had that happen, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little anal sometimes. Alright, so this is the other part about the pro shops I've noticed. They use their finger. They put a bunch of glue down there. It squeezes out. They use their finger to wipe it off, and they leave a streak of super glue across your ball. And I don't know, it just annoys me. So what I do is I have some Q-tips nearby. Maybe a paper towel. I use a small flathead screwdriver just to pull the grip over a little, like that. And all you need is a small dab. You'd be surprised, just a small little. If you put too much, it'll come shooting out, and then you'll have a mess on your hands. So again, go over here, pull the grip down, a little dabbled up, see? A little bit squeezed out there. That's where these come in handy. You can just kind of clean that up. And now it's not all over the side of the ball. I don't know about you, but if I just spent $125 on something, I don't want glue streaks all over it. Alright, so once those, you gotta let those first two set for a second. Once these ones set, the ones that are, you know, just sub flush and they're stuck there, now you can go in and force the other part of the grip down. So the second spot I always hit on the grips is the opposite side. So I'm gonna do this side next on both of them. This is gonna be hard to get on camera, but I just kind of take my fingers and push it down. If you have to use a screwdriver to help you push it down. And get your screwdriver in there to pull it back. A little dab of glue. Yep, and the glue came squirting out. Clean it up. Make sure it's firmly placed. Alright, now we move on to the other one. Let that set up for a sec. Push that down, and you kind of like you're pushing it down, and then you're using your other finger here on the side to kind of help hold the grip down. This is the hardest part of gluing grips. It's this side for me anyway. Don't know why. Clean that. Alright, last two sides. And I have noticed some people where they'll get a bigger size grip, slightly oversized, and they'll only glue they'll only glue these two sides and leave this side and this side loose, so that because your fingers swell, so if you don't glue these sides, then it kind of, fits to your finger, and then if your finger swells, it'll just, stretch back out. But I don't know, I glue them all. I glue all four sides. Sometimes it sets right away, like the second the rubber hits the ball, it goes off. And then other times, you kind of have to just sit there and keep pushing it until you see it stick. Alright, little dab here. And as soon as the bowling alley is open back up, I know they shut it down again for, I don't know, they said like 3 or 4 weeks they shut it down again. As soon as the bowling alley's open back up, I was going to bring my old Venom, the Supra, and this ball, and throw some shots with all three of them and see what the difference is. And maybe we can even write down the layouts for each ball so we know what's on each ball. The weird thing is the old Venom, so the old Venom that I have has a slightly different core than this ball, and has a stronger cover stock. The old pearl cover stock was a lot stronger. So this new Venom has the same cover stock that's on the Supra. It's their new pearl. It's supposed to be super clean, which just means it gets through the front of the lane very easily. So that probably means it's a little, I don't know, if it's weaker overall, I don't know. We won't know until we get it out there, but we will do it. Alright. So now technically, this is ready to go. I could go use this right now. Those grips are good. And there we have it. So that's it for the bowling ball. Now you guys know how to mark up a ball, what it all means, and how you can drill it at home and save yourself some money. In the future, I'm going to try to put out some more videos about, woodworking, hand planes. Over COVID break, when they forced us into our houses, I made this desk down in my basement. I was bored to death. Probably should have started doing videos then, but whatever. Yeah, so if you guys want to see more, push the subscribe, like button, whatever, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.